that this whole webinar will be recorded, and so all comments and all audio and everything on the screen that I share will be recorded. So just so you know about that. All right. Okay, everyone, I think we'll get started. And thanks so much for jumping on. My name is Wesley, and I'm part of the team here at Megabus. And the purpose of today is to run through some items about Payday Super and make sure you're all on board as to what it entails. And so I'll have a short presentation, and then I'll bring in some colleagues as we go along, since there's still some more people coming in. All right, so if everyone can see my screen, I'm going to just go through this presentation again. This is recorded for everyone's privacy reasons, and this will be made available to everyone afterwards for review. So today what we're going to do is we're going to look at the getting started on Payday Super and what it entails. And then the next step we're going to look at, for those who have signed up, what the next step is, and there's some Q&A around that. And then you may have other questions that may arise during the presentation and during the webinar, and we'll jot those questions down, and then we'll field them at the end. So if you have a question, what I do suggest is to grab the chat and to put in the chat. But I would hold off on the questions just yet, because many of the questions will be answered as we go through the material. So hold off on those questions if you can. And when I'll give you the go ahead, and we can put them in the chat, and then we'll try and field all of them for you. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to just go through the next slide and explain to you, for those who have not yet signed up, you should all have received the sign up form from us, from the team. Thanks everyone who has sent that through. We appreciate that you've sent that through. If you haven't received it for some reason, and you don't know of any sign up sheet to Payday Super, I would suggest that you just take that email address on your screen down, which is enquiries@megabus.com.au. And if you shoot your details through on that email address, we'll be able to get that back to you ASAP. For those who have received the sign-up form and haven't done it yet, that's the crucial first step. We're almost running out of time. We only got just over a week left. So I would ask you to please get that agreement back to us as soon as possible, so that we can get you the onboarding information back to you. So that's the first step. The first step is to get that sign up form. And again, if you haven't received it yet, please make sure that you send an email to enquiries@megabus.com.au. For those that have sent that through and want to know what the next steps are, we're going to be sending you through the onboarding information and the onboarding with the Super Choice Clearinghouse. And to do that, I've got my colleague Simon. So Simon's going to talk you through that process.
Thanks, Wes. Thank you for everyone who's registered. You will have the onboarding form here. What you need to do is complete the final 3 steps, which is the SSID, the Super Choice Employment Self-Enrollment, and the changes you need to do to Marlin HR. First, I'd like to point out, you'll see on your onboarding form here your SSID number, and we'll have a 10-digit number here, which is your unique SSID. When you're ready to do the SSID, come down and follow these steps here, which is sending the service provider software ID, SSID. There's steps here, logging on to the ATO, following those sort of steps that you need to do, putting in your ABN number, clicking on the SSID, enrolling that 10-digit number from page 1. And once you've done that and saved it, you've completed that step of the SSID. We then recommend that you go back up to the top of the document here, click on the self-enrollment link here, which is this click here. That will take you to SuperChoice's website, which will roll under the Megabus enrollment. Then we ask you to follow the steps listed here under the SuperChoice, which is getting started. They'll ask you a whole bunch of questions about your ABN. It'll guide you through everything you need to do here. From the enrollment aspect, it'll ask you to put in your account details and everything you need to do with SuperChoice. including your bank account details. Because please remember, when you submit your Payday Super, the super fund will direct debit the super out and push that over to the employee super funds as required. Once you've completed the super choice steps, come back up to the top of the document, and we've got the final bit here, which is enabling Payday Super Assist in HR. First off, when you run Marlin HR, you need to be on version 5.4.8 or later. The current version is 5.4.9. Then we ask you to come down again in this document. It's all in one document, all the way down past the super choice bits and pieces here to enabling Payday Super Assist inside Marlin HR. And there's some steps there on what you need to do to enable inside Marlin HR. It's a fairly straightforward guide. If you do get in trouble or you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Thanks, Wes.
Right. Thanks, Simon. I'm going to just share my screen once more and continue. So it's just a process that you have to follow. And if you can see my screen again, that's the second step. So its first step is signing up with the Payday Super Assist. Second one is to get onboarded, which Simon has taken you through, and the document will be available to you. And then the third one is we'd like to just now look at some questions that you may have. Now, what I would ask you to do is, if any questions that you have not been answered through our presentation today yet, if you could go ahead and add your question in the chat so that we can sort of take them one by one. Just write your question and we'll get to answer them as soon as we can. While you're doing that, just let you know that we have a FAQ page on our help.megabus website. So you can use that QR code that's on the screen right now, and it'll take you straight to our FAQ page where you can see pretty much a summary of what we've discussed, and that you can read through and digest at a later stage together with the recording of this webinar as well. So feel free to take that QR code and work through that. So while that's happening, I just see some questions are coming through, and I'll have my colleagues with me, Darren and David Brewer as well on board, who are in various roles in the company and able to answer any questions. So we'll just go through them one by one. So we'll take the first one. The first one is, do you need to add the SSIS number into HR? So the answer is no, you don't need to do that. You just need the SSID number, yeah. So we need to have the SSID number added to the portal, when you sign up, when you're on board, and that's got to be added there. I hope that answered that question from Virginia. So when you Payday the super choice, you'll be asked for an SSID, and that's where you put it into.
Wes, maybe I can just jump in there. The SSID is your unique number, which it's actually unrelated to Payday Super. It's actually related to your STP reporting through HR. So in the instructions that we'll send you, that will give you a link so that you'll jump into your ATO business portal and go to the access portal area to enter that SSID. And what that does is it actually tells the ATO that you're authorizing our sending service provider, which is Message Exchange, to forward your information through STP reporting to the ATO. So that we have wrapped it up with all of the Payday Super stuff that's going on, but it's actually unrelated to Payday Super. So you don't need to enter it into HR or into Super Choice. It actually just goes into your ATO business portal.
Thanks, Darren. I meant the ATO portal. That's right. Yeah, thank you very much for that. All right. Another question is, how was the onboarding info sent after we signed up? Simon, do you want to answer that one?
Certainly. Once you've signed up, you nominate a pay clerk on the form, the application form. The onboarding document will be emailed to that address. If you've not got that email, the onboarding form, please reach out to us, inquiries at, and we'll check that. We'll validate the email address you want it to and resend it if as required.
And maybe, Simon, you can handle that next question from Mark, who says, where do we get our SSID from?
Hi, Mark. It's on the onboarding form, and it's on the first pages I showed you if you get stuck, please let us know and we can assist with you on that.
Great, thank you. Mohammed asks, do we need to set up the Super Choice pay period from 1st of July 2026 as per our next payday run? Darren, could you answer that one?
Yeah, you don't need to define a period anywhere. There are, I guess, two key parts to getting it going. One is the self-registration on the Super Choice portal. Once that's done, the only other thing you need to do to activate it is to basically tick the checkbox in Marlin HR to set it running. Once that's done, when you go to your pay run screen at the top, whereas you currently see STP reporting is turned on, you'll see another little note at the top there saying Payday Super is turned on. And that means that as soon as you finalise that pay run, it will automatically generate the SuperStream payment file and send it through the integration directly to Super Choice. So you don't need to define any periods. Just as soon as you turn it on in Marlin HR, it will become active from the very next pay run that you process, which may be in the new financial year or it could be in this year. We have people already processing pay runs through the integration to Super Choice.
Thanks, Darren. Next question is, once the Super Choice is direct debited from our account, are we indemnified if it is not passed on or lost once it has left our account? Darren, could you just comment on that one?
Yeah, it's something that came up pretty early on in all of the Payday Super discussions. And I know even the bookkeeping organisations, there was a bit of backlash to the ATO because the way it was set up was that regardless of the reason for not meeting the 7 days, the employer was at fault. And of course, everybody was rightly jumping up and down and say, well, that's totally unfair. If they've done the right thing, they've made the submission, it's not their fault. If there are problems with the fund or clearinghouse, etc. I don't know that that's been changed, but one probably key thing for everyone to be aware of is that there are a lot of players in this industry that are struggling to meet the July 1st deadline, including some of the payment gateways, for example. So it's been fairly widely speculated that the start date could be deferred for 1, 2, or even 3 months. I don't think that's going to happen. I think what we'll see is that the ATO will leave that deadline in place, but they'll take a very softly type approach. So it's going to be carrot rather than the stick. They're keen to see everybody join on to the Payday Super and comply with the regulations, but they're more of a viewpoint to try to assist wherever they can rather than jump in and start imposing fines. It'd be quite a lengthy process till they get to that point. They'll be reaching out to say, okay, look, we can see after a certain date that you're still not compliant. Is there anything we can do to help you? Is your payroll provider, offering the service, et cetera, and to assist in any way they can. So as long as they can see that there is intent on behalf of the employer to do the right thing, they're not going to issue any fines or doubtful even any warnings for that matter. It would only be if down the track they can see you're not complying, they've had discussions with you to alert you to that, you've shown no attempt to comply and given no valid reason why you're not complying, you would probably then get a warning, and then further again down the track they would follow that up, and if you've still shown no attempt to comply, then potentially they'd look at fines. But don't worry about that at the start. It would be quite a long time down the track before that would happen.
Thanks, Darren. Just on Fiona's question about the ABN, I'll let Simon answer that one.
Fiona, it's your ABN you need to key into the ATO portal along with your SSID, which we provide on the onboarding document.
So the question is just in the portal, what am I putting in there? And it's your specific ABN. Good, thank you for that. Another question. I've tried multiple times to log into the Super Choice employer portal. Originally, it only gave me a credit card credit as payment method. Today, it has changed to direct debit, but it doesn't give me the payment frequency. Anyone got a comment on that, Darren? Is there anything we can do from our side?
The choice is where when you self-register on the Super Choice portal with your contact details and banking details, yes, it gives you the choice of direct debit, direct credit. But as far as the timing of it, what will happen is that as you finalise each pay, the submission automatically goes through to SuperChoice. It will do validation on the file. If it's happy everything is correct, then it will proceed to taking payment using your preferred method that you've set up in the SuperChoice portal. How long it takes them, I guess, is probably going to vary a little bit. I think probably around 24 to 48 hours on average would be where we'd be expecting the payment to be taken. But basically that's the trigger, so you don't actually define a period as such.
Thank you. Then a question is, do we need to set up each employee in SuperChoice ourselves, or will the employee's details be uploaded with a file that's created with each pay run? Darren?
Yeah, so the answer is basically yes, the second part. Once you've self-registered on the portal, you can manually add employees into the portal if you like. I know a lot of our Marlin HR clients that have been using SuperStream for some years now have registered with their own choice of clearinghouse previously. And that gives them the option to either log into their clearinghouse, manually enter payment details for a particular period and process payment that way, or they can generate the SuperStream payment file within HR and then upload that to their clearinghouse. So those methods are still available to those that choose not to take up the Payday Super option. They can continue to do it that way. But otherwise, it's just automatic. When you process your pay run and finalise it, it sends all of the details that are required in that SuperStream payment file to SuperChoice, which primes the data on the SuperChoice portal. So if you had not previously gone in and set up any employee details, processed a pay, it sent the file through. If you were then to log into your SuperChoice portal just to have a look, you would see your employee details in there, along with a history of submissions that you've made from various pay runs as well. So the answer is no, you don't need to pre-enter all of your employees. I know that would be a significant step for some of our clients with quite large payrolls. The SuperStream payment file from HR from the pay run will do that for you automatically.
Excellent. And then the question is just what happens about the previous superannuation payments prior to 1st of July, or I suppose the question is prior to setting up this Payday Super?
Okay, so you'll have outstanding payments for potentially June or the April-June quarter that obviously you still need to make. A lot of our clients were previously using the ATO Small Business Super Clearinghouse. As you know, your access to that is going to be chopped off at midnight on June 30. So the ATO have been recommending that your payment for the either June month, if you're doing it monthly, or end of the June quarter, not to put it through the ATO Small Business Clearinghouse, because if that goes through a day or two before you lose access and there are issues with payments being rejected by funds, etc., you'll no longer have access to the ATO Small Business Clearinghouse to make corrections. So they're recommending you use your new solution that you'll be using from July 1st going forwards, so i.e. Payday Super Assist that we're providing. So you have options on how you do that. Once you have Payday Super activated in HR, you've done the self-registration on the SuperChoice portal, and then you've gone ahead and activated it in HR, you can produce a SuperStream payment file as you did previously for your own clearinghouse in Marlin HR still, and the system will recognise that you have Payday Super turned on. So when you click on the create file, as you've done previously, it will come up with another prompt saying, oh, okay, you've got Payday Super turned on. Would you like us to submit this directly to SuperChoice for you? And if you say yes to that, it will automatically forward it through the integration, the same as the pay runs will do from now on. They'll send that through. The only note on that I would make is that because of the way Payday Super is set up to be done per pay run, you would need to create a file per pay run that you'd run previously to send that through. If you've been previously using your own choice of clearinghouse, then you could still do the same thing before you activate your Payday Super. Just generate the SuperStream payment file for the June month or the June quarter and upload that to your existing clearinghouse, and that will do the same thing. Or once you've created that file, you could even upload that manually into the Super Choice portal as well. So you'll have a choice for your June payments as to which way you want to go with that. In the FAQ page that Wes mentioned earlier, we've got step-by-step details on how to adopt each of those methods depending on which is most relevant or comfortable for you, and that'll step you through exactly how to do that for your June payments.
Thanks, Darren. There's a partly answered already, but we'll just mention it anyway. Do employees' details automatically upload to Super Choice? And if we are paying by direct credit, what is the account number we pay into?
Okay, so yeah, as we said, you don't need to pre-create your employees in the Super Choice portal. The pay run will send that information through and do that for you. You can do it manually if you want to. It's completely up to you. And as far as the account that Super Choice will take payment from, it's the one that you specify when you do the self-enrollment on the Super Choice portal.
So that's an automatic debit, Sharon, of your account. Yeah, Don, you had something to add? You're on mute if you're speaking.
Yeah, the question, I think, was not understood, Darren. From Sharon, do employee details automatically update? You answered that. If we are paying by direct credit, what is the account number we pay into? So that's not to do with direct debit. Direct credit is where you prepay Super Choice for the expected amount that needs to go to your employees.
Is it clear, Darren, from your side?
Thanks, Doc.
All right.
We would probably have to come back to you unless someone else at Megabus knows the answer to that question. I don't.
The idea that it's that you just hit the payment and off it goes from your account. But if you want to choose to do direct credit, maybe we can look at adding it to our FAQs. Sharon, unless someone's got the answer.
I was just going to say,
David?
I would assume that Super Choice would provide the credit details, the bank account details and a reference number. So hopefully they'll send some information through, but we can clarify that, double check.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks, David. Then another question is, does Super Choice take the preferred super fund by employee from HR? Darren, do you want to field that one?
It will take exactly what you've got in HR for each employee. So obviously for your current employees, they'll already be set up with their super fund, etc. And the details for that super fund, including the USI code, etc., will be set up in Marlin HR. That will all go through in the payment file and be used automatically. If you have, say, a new employee that comes on, you don't yet have their superannuation fund name and details, etc., then again on the FAQs, we've got a scenario that actually takes you through that. What we would suggest, there's a couple of things you can do. Sorry, frog in the throat. A couple of things you can do. So what we would recommend is obviously you need to be able to pay that employee. So we would recommend setting them up in HR initially with a generic fund, a non-real fund, if you like, say funded super. So what that will mean is that you include them on the pay run with everyone else. They'll get paid as normal. The system will calculate and store their superannuation amounts, etc., until such time as you have the information for the fund that they're going to use. At that point, you would need to, for the very first, like catch up, if you like, you would need to manually enter that into the Super Choice portal to pay that amount because it didn't go through with the pay run, because at that time they were set up as funded super as opposed to a real super account. Marlin HR at this point doesn't directly do onboarding in terms of looking up stapled funds and those sorts of things. So for our stores at the moment, that's a manual process where they obtain that information and enter it into HR. But yeah, if that hasn't yet been done, by the time of the first pay run, then select a generic fund such as funded super, and then you'll manually pay that employee through the Super Choice portal once you have the correct details. And of course, you'll update them in Marlin HR so that on future pay runs, that will all go automatically through for that employee.
Thanks. And another question from Fran. I think we've mentioned this before. I'll just mention it again. And just by the way, if there's any questions that you put in that you've already got answers to, if you can just delete your comment. But do we enable Super Choice in Marlin before or after final pay run of financial year?
It's actually not connected. In the once you send the authorization form through and we send you the instructions for setup, step one really is doing the self-registration on the portal, which is the critical thing because you don't want to start sending payment files to Super Choice before they know who you are and what your banking details are, for example. And the second part is actually activating it in Marlin HR, which is literally just ticking a box. So you just need to do those in the correct order. So you do the self-registration as soon as possible, and then activate it in Marlin HR with a tick at the time that you want to commence the actual integration to Super Choice. So, for example, you might do your self-registration with all the details, contact details, banking details, etc., but you're not yet ready to start using the integration to Super Choice. You might be still processing your June payments, etc., and you want to do that separately. So we would recommend at that point that once you've done your June payment, that you would at that point tick the box to activate Payday Super. So it will then apply from the very next pay run that you do, which may be before or after end of year. It just depends on you and what suits. So you have control over that.
Great. Thank you. One says, Brad says, mine is turned on and I've done a pay run today. How do I know that this has been processed?
Okay, so when you did the self-registration on the Super Choice portal, you'll have entered an email address for your payroll officer who's looking after running all the pays for you. So what will happen is as each file is submitted to Super Choice, they will automatically send you back a status confirmation email, and it will tell you the status of that particular payment, which could be processed and sent, which means there were no validation issues, it all went happily through and it's been processed. Or if they do establish that there's some information missing, or perhaps it's different to what you previously submitted and it's a significant field, it will put a temporary hold on it, send you the email saying there's member identification exceptions or some sort of validation exception. And on that, there's a big green view button to click to take you into your Super Choice portal, and it will show you the data that it needs you to either fill because it wasn't there, or depending on the nature of the information, it might show you in the left-hand side of the screen the information as shown in the file you've just submitted, and in the right-hand side of the screen it will show you what Super Choice previously had on file, which might have been information you entered into the portal manually, or might have been information that you included on a previous pay run sent through Super Choice. And it literally just wants you to tick at the bottom of the screen which value to use, the one that's in the file that it's changed to, or the one that they've already got on record from a previous pay run, or that you've entered into the portal itself. So it makes it all quite simple. It highlights the information. Anything that matches will be on a green background. Anything that doesn't is on a bright yellow background. So it literally points out where there are any differences, and you just need to tell it which one is valid for this payment. And once you've fixed those up, there's a button that you click on to submit, and then it will basically resubmit that payment with the updated details through the Super Choice system and go through to payment, etc.
And this question is about the choice of payment. So is it an option to use direct credit instead of direct debit to avoid rejection if the bank account doesn't have funds available? So it's about the choice.
Yeah, when you do the self-enrollment and get into the banking details, it gives you a couple of tick boxes whether you want direct debit or direct credit.
Great, thank you. The question from Mel is, who deals with the errors on Super Choice when a super payment doesn't go through? Is it something that Megabus deals with, or is it something that we have to deal with?
I guess the short answer is depends. So what will happen is that you'll receive that email that we just spoke about. If there's some sort of validation error or validation information that's changed or missing. So you click on that and go in, it'll show you what it is. And generally it'll be very straightforward. And you just need to enter the missing information or tick which one is appropriate, the pre-existing value that is currently on Super Choice or the one in the new file. And it literally will normally be that simple. If there's some sort of question as to why, sorry, the other point I should make too is that when you do update that information on the portal, if it was missing information, then you should go back into Marlin HR and make the same change there. So subsequent submissions from pay runs will go straight through without being held, requiring you to jump in and validate. If there's any query as to how to do that, for example, you think the information in Marlin HR was correct, but what was feeding through to Super Choice doesn't seem to match what was in HR, please reach out to us and we'll jump in with you and have a look and sort out what's going on. If it is more of a question on how to use the portal, Super Choice have a lot of online documentation and guides showing you through how to use that. In our FAQs, we have a short sort of PowerPoint type slide that you can scroll through, which really shows you the process of receiving the email, clicking on the view button to go into the Super Choice portal, and telling you what the icons you'll see will be. Basically, depending on the nature of the mismatch or missing data, it will have a big red icon next to it or a big green icon next to it, and effectively green is good, red is bad. Red just means there's a difference that you need to address. Green means it's all okay, it's all matching, it's all happy. And the Super Choice portal, as I said, will quite readily show you specifically what information didn't match and give you the choice to update it. But if there's any sort of portal related issues, then we ask you to reach out to Super Choice and they'll be able to assist you with the portal itself. I don't predict that there'll be much requirement for that. It's a fairly straightforward process. A lot of people using it. But look, if there are, then Super Choice are available to support you as well. But yeah, look, if it's related back to HR and you're not sure where the data's coming from, where to update it, or you think it is correct in HR, but it doesn't seem to be correct what's going through to the portal, then look, please reach out to Megabus and we'll assist you with that.
And you can just do that via ticket, support ticket. Don, you had a comment?
I just wanted to respond to Greg Midland. The only caveat, Greg, is if you're using direct credit, you need to pay in time, so that probably on the same day that you do the pay run, because the pay run automatically sends the submission to Super Choice and they're expecting to be able to use those funds that you've given them to disperse to the super funds for your employees. So if you're late in doing that, you may have a problem as well where it'll be rejected because you haven't paid in time. That's the only point I was going to make.
Thanks, Don. Then a question about the when to join Payday Super is, can it be done during the financial year? Darren, you want to grab that one quick?
You cut it a bit in the middle there, but I think you're saying during the current financial year that you don't need to wait for the end of this financial year. That's correct. As long as you've been through the steps of doing the self-registration on the Super Choice portal, so they have your contact and banking details and know who you are, and you've activated the tick box in Marlin HR, then from the very next pay run that you process, that will use the integration to Super Choice. And as we said, depending on what's most comfortable for you, you may choose to use that for your June submissions, or Others may choose to use their pre-existing methods of payment and wait till they've completed their end of financial year close off in HR and then activate it ready for the first pay run of the new financial year. Both choices are completely valid.
Awesome. Thanks, Michelle, for being proactive on your comments there and saying that 2 of them are answered. Just a comment on Michelle. She said that when she completed registration with Super Choice, not all questions as they appeared on the guide were asked. For example, number of staff. Michelle, we'll have a check on that. We'll just do a double check through those processes. Thanks for pointing that out, and thanks for noting that questions have been answered. I'll go through to the next one from Fran. I have the same issue as Michelle. I have the same issue as Michelle with the employee numbers and details not asked on the Super Choice registration. So we'll just double check that for you guys and make sure that it's accurate. All right. Naomi asked, what is the difference between direct credit and direct debit? I think we've answered that. So it's the one whether you pay direct yourself manually or whether it's taken from your account and pay. Darren, does it have merchant fees then? Maybe you can just answer that one.
Good question. I don't know, to be honest. Don may, perhaps. Don, have you any idea?
Direct debit means you authorise them to take money from your nominated bank account to fulfil your obligations for super payment. Direct credit means you agree to pay Super Choice in advance of when they will need the money. So you actually need to do it on the same day, and you will do the transfer to them. And on the Super Choice portal, I think David Brewer, my colleague, mentioned if you pick direct credit as your preferred payment method, it would probably indicate what the BSB and account number is that you need to actually do that transfer to.
And I think there, Don, too, the direct debit is only from a bank account, not a credit card, I believe, as well.
I don't think direct credit is...
No, direct debit, you can't direct debit from a credit card.
No, but no. I'm talking about direct credit.
Yeah, well, direct credit is you pay. Yeah.
Direct credit, you pay first.
Yeah.
And you can pay by whatever means you want. Hope that answers the question.
All right. Thanks, Don. So another question is the use of Marlin HR mandatory, or can I use another software recommended by my accountant? This is a seminar about Marlin HR, so we would say you use Marlin HR, but Darren, would you like to just comment on that, or have I answered correctly?
So just to understand the question, was it directly about which payroll software you have to use, or do you have to use the Payday Super functionality with Super Choice? If it's the latter, as to whether you mandatorily have to use Payday Super Assist with Super Choice, if you use Marlin HR, the answer is no, it's not mandatory, it's optional for you. It does make life a lot easier though, because it effectively automates everything. If you're choosing to use your own clearinghouse or continue using your own clearinghouse, you're welcome to do that, but you'll need to continue manually generating your SuperStream payment files and uploading them to that particular clearinghouse's portal.
There was another question similar to Brad Clark. Thanks for that. I believe it's been answered. If it's not, just pop another comment in and I can make sure it gets answered again. The next question is, how do you set up Marlin HR? I have not seen a setup guide. That was, if you've just joined recently, or okay, let Simon just handle that one.
Hey, Peter, thank you for your inquiry. On your onboarding form, it's step 4. For those that have major agreements with us, step 3. It's the final step on our onboarding document. If you do struggle with it, you need to make sure you are on Marlin HR 5.4.8 or later. If you do have issues, please feel free to reach out to us via our support team.
Thanks, Simon. Another question is, when you are still using the clearinghouse that you have been using, do you need to set up Marlin so the information goes to the ATO? Darren?
It doesn't make any change to anything as far as the ATO. It's purely your super payment to a clearinghouse. So some of you will have been traditionally using your own clearinghouse that you've registered with. So the timing of changing, if you're going to change to the Payday Super Assist, as we said, is up to you. You can use the existing method and clearinghouse to do your June payments if you wish, and then turn on Payday Super Assist, or you can turn on Payday Super Assist earlier and either use Super Choice or your previous clearinghouse to process the payment file for the June quarter.
So Darren, just so I'm clear too, if they're not going to go with Super Choice and continue to use their clearinghouse, then they don't need to do anything, correct?
Correct. Nothing will change.
If
you choose not to take up the Payday Super Assist integration with Super Choice, do absolutely nothing. Just keep doing what you're doing. No change.
I think it's worth noting, Darren and everyone, if you are using the government's clearinghouse, that will be turned off. So you do need to pick a provider that can handle your super.
Yes, good call.
Yeah, make sure that the clearinghouse that you are using, I think, Brenda, that answers your question. If you are using the government one, it's going to be changed and removed soon. So, so Brenda, if I haven't answered your question, just feel free to add another comment, please. But I think that's been answered. Thank you. Next question is, what happens when I pay staff in advance as we close the shop for 2 weeks and all take leave? Darren, you want to comment on that one?
Yeah, that will, as it stands, go through automatically for payment. Obviously, the pay component of that payment is your separate wages file, so you've got control over when you actually pay that, whether you do that in advance or you pay it week by week, and you've just run the pay runs in advance. But as far as the integration for the super payment, that will go straight through.
Okay, thank you. And we are getting through almost all the questions, almost done. Thanks for everyone for bearing with us, but this is all very helpful. The next question is, I'm in the employer portal. It shows thank you for registering, and it's being processed. It's busy being processed. Is that all we have to do? Maybe Simon, I don't know if you or Darren can answer that one.
Yeah, you will get an automatic email from Super Choice once you've completed your online registration, which is exactly that. Thanks for registering with us, etc. So it's just a bit of an introductory confirmation from Super Choice to confirm that they've received your registration, which means you're basically ready to go. The only remaining step for you to do at the time that suits you is to activate the service within HR, which is, as we said, just ticking the box, and then everything is up and running.
Thanks, Don. A comment?
If I could add to Sam's question, once you've done the registration, you will receive an email confirming that, and there's a link in the email that allows you to set the password to get into the Super Choice portal. You need to do that. So when you click on that, you go in, set your password, and then test it out. Click on the link to go into their portal, set the password, then go back in, and you can see everything that you've just done. You actually need to do that.
Thanks, Don. Next question is, I print the super report on Payday and I manually enter the details into our newly set up Payday Super portal and do a manual payment. Can I still do it this way, or will it be mandatory to do it in the exported file, with the exported file in the future? Darren?
If you turn on the Payday Super integration, it will generate and send the file automatically.
So it's a manual versus an automatic. But to answer your question, you can do it manually, right, Darren? They can if they wish.
You
If
can.
they're not going to use our portal, if they're not going to use our clearinghouse, then they can do it manually to their existing Super Choice portal.
If you were looking to continue to do it manually without obviously the use of automated files, etc., then you wouldn't be using the Payday Super Assist. You would continue to use probably your current clearinghouse or Super Choice. You can register with Super Choice directly rather than through the instructions that we're sending as part of the Megabus Payday Assist, and just use them as a generic clearinghouse as others have been using other clearinghouses, same thing. So you can continue to do it manually, but you wouldn't be taking up the Payday Super Assist because that will basically enroll and set up the automated processing of files.
That's right. Thanks, Darren. It's idea is to save time and not to try and move away from the manual, but you're certainly able to do that as well if you wish, if you prefer that. Next question is, I submitted last week's pay run and had STP Super on, but I haven't received any emails back. Does this mean it didn't go through? And Darren?
Okay, so not STP, but the super payment details. No, during the first couple of weeks of operation, Super Choice have been sending the confirmation responses directly to Megabus, so we've been monitoring them to make sure everyone's getting set up okay, everything's processing through. If there are any common queries or issues that are occurring, all those sorts of things. But we've now officially asked Super Choice to automatically send those confirmations directly to all of our employers that are enrolled for Payday Super Assist, and they will be CC'd to Megabus, so we, at least for the time being, can continue to monitor that everything is running along okay, and there don't seem to be any issues that are tripping up our clients, that we can reach out to them with additional information, etc. So that was the end of last week. We reached out and asked for that. I'm not sure how many days it takes them to actually activate that, make the change. But I would say at the latest by the end of this week, I would imagine they'll have that activated, so they will go through. So what I've been doing for the time being is picking them up and manually forwarding them on to those clients. But as soon as we hear confirmation from Super Choice that they've activated the direct emailing to employers, then we'll cease needing to do that and you'll get them immediately.
Thanks. Scott's got a question. I think I did a pay run last Thursday. Super came out of my account that night and now is sitting in Super Choice as of 5 minutes ago. It has not hit my Super account. When does this happen? I think it's a question for Super Choice, but Darren, do you have anything to comment on that at all?
No, so that's the, I guess, lag between clearinghouse and the super funds, which I would normally envisage that would be in the realm of 24 to 48 hours normally. We have no control over that. If there seems to be any issues ongoing, please let us know. We can certainly reach out to Super Choice and ask some questions, and it might be information that might be relevant to all of our clients. So look, please absolutely let us know, and we can investigate with Super Choice. But typically, look, I would think 2 days at the outside or 2 working days, at the longest, I would imagine, on an ongoing basis. Now, I know there is a lot going on at the moment in them setting up all of this. As we said, I know there's a lot of players out there that are struggling to meet the deadlines, and Super Choice have sort of said that there's a bit of chaos out there at the moment. So things may take a little bit of time to settle in, and this isn't with Payday Super Assist or Marlin HR or anything like that. It's just across the whole industry with these changes that there's been some struggle to get them implemented.
Darren, can I ask a question? In the employee portal, when the users log in, can they see their history of the payments they've made and what the status of them is?
Yeah, absolutely. When you can either just go directly to the portal and log in, or if you receive one of the confirmation messages, either saying successful or there are issues that you need to jump in and address, click on the big button, takes you in. When you log in, you'll see a list of all prior submissions. And you can click on those and delve into them and see, who the employees were, what the payment amounts were, all of the details that were included in the payment file. They'll be there that you can go through and have a look at them.
Perfect. Thank you. I thought so.
Thanks, Darren. Question, I'll just get through the last few questions very quickly. I have a number of clients. Am I able to register a secondary email in the Super Choice account so that I can be notified of any errors? Perhaps
I
Darren
think the
again?
answer to that is potentially manually by reaching out to Super Choice directly. I think they will set up the default method, which for now is respond directly to employers and CC Megabus. If you wanted to add another party onto that, I think you would need to reach out to Super Choice support, and possibly they can do that for you.
Great, thank you. So it's just a clarification that's written here, is just to clarify. So once it's set up, there is no need to go to the Super Choice portal. It's all done via Marlin HR ?
There's no need to go to the portal to submit the payment. As long as you don't receive an email saying that there is some sort of validation issues or matching errors or missing information. If that's the case, you need to jump in, find out what the information was, correct it on the portal so that that payment goes through, and also make the same changes in Marlin HR so the future pay runs will go through without going through the same process and requiring you to jump in.
All right, thank you, Don. I think you had a question or comment about the previous one. Do you want to say something, Don?
Yes, I do. Virginia, I'm uncertain of your role, and it's not easy for us to have a conversation now, but I'm assuming you're an accountant or bookkeeper that has multiple clients. Each of your clients as employers must register, and I wonder if they could use your email address as the contact as they register on the Super Choice portal. I need to think about this and probably discuss it with Super Choice. And yeah, it's an interesting question. Thank you.
Always. I think the best is to reach out to Super Choice. If you have any questions, we are to help you as well. Mark, you said that you try to send an email. You've got a typo there. So it's inquiries. So the I before the E is missing. If you just correct that and send it again, we'll respond to you as soon as we can. Thanks, Mark. And the question is there a fee to use Super Choice other than Marlin HR fee? Darren, can you answer that?
I'll take that one, Wes.
Simon, yep.
Yeah. Robin, I'll reach out to you separately after this.
Great, thanks.
There are fees for the use of Payday Assist with Marlin HR. If you do have any inquiries about that, then feel free to reach out to us, inquiries at, but I'll reach out that one personally.
Great, thank you. So just send an email to that inquiries@megabus.com.au if you have a question on that, and we can sort that out for you, as Simon just said. All right. I see. Thanks, Matt. He's answered that. Jody says, if I set up Super Clearinghouse on a weekly basis from next week, what happens to the superannuation monies owed from the fourth quarter? Darren?
Okay, so that's the one we've touched on a few times along the way. That it depends on what's most comfortable for you. On our FAQ sheet, we put step by step the different methods you can use to do that. You might choose to use your pre-existing clearinghouse that you've been using, or you might choose to activate Payday Super first and use Super Choice to do that on your behalf. But those options and how to do each of those are detailed there.
Great, thanks, Dan. Donna, you still got your hand up, or is something else you want to say? Okay, thank you. Just very quickly running, you've got 2 minutes left. If you initially set up as direct credit, are you able to change to direct debit? Darren, quick comment there.
I don't know 100%, but I couldn't imagine why not.
You can. You can.
Yeah.
So you can change it. Thanks, Don. So it can be changed. I'm assuming you just go back into the portal and then make the adjustment there.
Correct.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, Don. Let's just see. Okay, there seems to be some notifications, just people affirming that it's working. Someone made a logged in Super Choice and can see the file sitting there. It just doesn't notify us as quick as we would like. Okay. I'm sure that will improve things as they go along. Thanks, James. James put the link there if you want the hyperlink, or again on the screen, there's the QR code, which takes you to the same page, which is the FAQ on our page, which got pretty much everything we've discussed and some more as well. All right. Thank you, everyone. I think that concludes our webinar. We will make this available, this recording available, and more than likely we'll put it on the same page as the FAQ one, which is the QR code on your screen, or the links in the meeting chat. So if you want to watch this webinar again, we'll put it on the same page, so you have one page to go to. Keep it nice and simple. Thank you, everyone, for reaching out. Just once again, if you have any issues regarding it, just send it to inquiries@megabus.com.au. Thanks for your support, and we look forward to taking on this next journey. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.